Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my Twisted Life of TV. I am Poetry. Oh man, I just had to come on camera and um, say a few things today because a lot has been really placed on my spirit that I felt that I needed to get out in regards to um, the state of Black lives, is the way I like to call it. Um, I started my morning off on Miss Honey's channel, and I was watching a video of hers where she finally decided to speak out about the murder of George Floyd. And the way that she described how the murder went down for George Floyd and for Aubrey, and then she also touched on Breonna Taylor. The way that she described those events, like, has stuck with me all day. So I've been kind of like in a heavy mood, but like for some reason my mind is just like open. You know what I'm saying? And so after listening to her today, um, I went to work and a protest broke out in the middle of Windermere, which is one of Orlando's richest areas where a lot of the celebrities live. A protest just broke out in the middle of downtown. I think that portion was planned, but some of it wasn't, because as I'm at work, I first started leaving out of the office, and I saw the police had blocked off the roads. It's like, okay, what's going on here? So I made a little detour, got to one of my destinations, and I had to come back and get a government vehicle for the rest of my day. After about 2 hours of me being out there, but at this point I had only been on the street for about 30 minutes. But something said, go back to the office right now. So I started to head back to the office, and the guy whose vehicle I was going to borrow, I saw him. I was like, hey, cut through this neighborhood. There's something going on near the office, right? It looks like a protest. He said, bet that. So he cut through. I met him at the office. By the time we got, like, I want to say maybe 50 feet from the street where we turned, a busload of kids just jumped off of this bus. It was like a Greyhound bus. Um, Signs, Black Lives Matter T-shirts, standing for justice. They all different variations, different colors of teenagers. They may have been as old as college students, but they look like high school teenagers. And they were out there, and they took to the streets of Windermere. And you know, I'm at work, right? All I could do is just lean on my horn. Eh, eh, eh. Throw the fist up as I'm riding down the street. And I got back to work feeling elated. I was so very, very happy. Which was surprising considering that, excuse me for my belching, I'm drinking a Sprite. That earlier in the day, um, this white girl at work, I believe, accused me of stealing a pen. So odd. We normally speak, how you doing? We don't really have like check into each other's lives like that conversation. But like, hey, how you doing today? We do speak like that. Today she approached me and asked me, did I take her pen? I was like, no, I didn't think nothing of it. Then she said, well, it went missing yesterday. Okay, now I wasn't even near her yesterday. She wasn't even at work yesterday. So why did you come to me, ask me, did I take your pen? And then she went on to um ask, well, you sure it's not up there on your desk? You know, I was like, you could check, you know what I'm saying? So I'm flipping up stuff for her so her look as well. Cause like when we on different assignments, we be at different workstations. And then so she pulled out the drawer, looked through the drawer, and then asked me, am I sure it's not in my bag? I was feeling some kind of way. Because like I said, I had just listened to Miss Honey's video all morning. My mind was open, but I was feeling some kind of way. So I was like, did she just ask me if I was stealing her pen? Did I? And I'm like, my mind instantly went to, is it because I'm black? Because nobody else in the office, we have 37 employees that worked in our back area, another 5 up front, and she asked no one else about this pen. Now, being that she wasn't there yesterday, I wasn't in her workstation, and she didn't know if I was in fact, she know that I was not in her workstation yesterday either, because there's only one other person that shared her workstation. Why are you coming to me asking me, did I have your pen and is it in my bag? So I was pissed off. So once I saw this protest happening out in the street, and some other people who had overheard the conversation, they was like, yeah, we took that shit the same way you did it. She asked you because she was black. She asked nobody else around her about this fucking pen, right? But anyway, so when I saw the protest, I felt kind of like happy. Like, yes, okay. I get back to the office, and the new supervisor, I told y'all, we had a new supervisor. She was a woman, and I said I wasn't sure if I like her yet. I don't. I'll tell you about that on another day. But me and the one guy who I had instructed on how to get back to the office to go around the protest, so I can get his vehicle so I can go back out on the street. Um, she was saying, like, this gets on my damn nerves. These people are so fucking stupid. My instant reaction, no, it's not stupid. And then I said, oh, wait a minute. They just had a meeting the other day that says that we are not supposed to talk about anything but work on the workroom floor. They want to try to keep down tensions in the workplace, right? So I'm going to abide by that. I'm going to walk away from this conversation. That's what I said. Okay. And I walked away, did a few things, and I started to head back to that area because I still hadn't got the keys from the guy's vehicle so I could use it. And I'm hearing my name, my government name, about how stupid I am. Orlando just opened back up. People are just now able to go back to the stores, and then they pull this shit. Speaking of the protesters, they pull this shit, inconveniencing us once again. I said, well, good. You should be inconvenienced. And only person stupid is you. I mean, but I would expect that of somebody with a slave mentality. You know, I didn't say that to her, that part, but I thought that part because there was one incident, like I said, I'm going to tell you about that one day, that she basically told me that I shouldn't think. She tells me what to do, and I just follow instructions. That ain't never been me. I ain't never been that type of person. I ain't never been that type of person. So that's why, you know, but I'll tell y'all about that another day. But anyway, so yeah. So I had that, all that tension was going on. I was like, to this, really? So now I'm like, this bitch here. Then come to find out, my head honcho was speaking to another co-worker about her nephew and insinuated that he could have grew up to be a thug. How about them fucking apples? I always thought the head honcho was racist. I did. Just some of the conversation he said. Just like, remember I was watching Little Fires Everywhere, and I was like, when Elena decided to make sure that Mia knew that this town was diverse. That now my mama was on the board of everything that helped black people. You know what I'm saying? That type of situation, you know, you should be safe here. That type of conversation, that's the same thing the head honcho did with me when I first moved here. Trying to give me tips on, you know, the Klan live over here. How you know? You know, they have rallies every day. You know, he must attend them. But it was something just in the conversation, what he was telling me, it was like, if I was a white person to move here, would you still be notifying them of this shit too? You just doing it to me. But we already know that he don't like women, or I don't think he like women. But we gonna keep that going too. So yeah, I was feeling that kind of way. So I got home and I started trying to just take my mind off my day. You know what I'm saying? I still got Miss Honey's video playing in my head though, just her words that she was saying. I'm gonna try to attach a link to it in the description if I remember. Just the words that she was saying. I still have not got through the whole thing because it was fucking heavy, you know what I'm saying? So I said, let me just watch something, you know, that don't matter for real, you know? So I started watching Beyonce's Homecoming, trying to figure out why you guys are such fans or such stans. And I'll talk about that another day too. I still don't understand. I had an hour through it and I was like, damn, this shit ain't over yet. Entertaining, but still, you know, for the purpose of what I was looking for, I was like, she good, you know, she's a damn good entertainer. And her crowd reacts the same way that Michael Jackson's crowd reacts, or close to it. She get at least 75% of the way. So yeah, I can see why she's on the why they give her the title she gives, but why? I still wasn't there yet. But anywho, so about an hour through that, I pushed pause and I started tweeting, like scrolling through my tweets, and I saw Dave Chappelle's name was trending. I was like, Dave Chappelle, 846. What the fuck is this, right? So I went to go look it up. I found some news articles, and they was like, okay, it says new stand-up, Netflix stand-up, whatever. I don't think it's Netflix, though. It ain't nowhere on Netflix. You got to watch it on YouTube. But it's showing on YouTube. So I went over to YouTube, plugged in 846 Dave Chappelle. You can see it. And I was like, let me see what this is about. Let me check it out. I also tagged it on my community board, so you can go over there. Um, this is the first official stand-up quarantine of the nation, supposedly. They said a lot of stand-up people have been doing it through like drive-in theaters, stuff like that. But this is the first one he's doing like live, where he got two people can sit next to each other. They're quarantined off 6 feet away from each other. They're social distancing seating, but you come in as a couple. And so Dave Chappelle starts to speak. I'm on my floor, y'all. Dave Chappelle starts to speak. And he said he's going to speak on George Floyd. He started off somewhere else, and then he ended up like some key points before I forget what they are. He was talking about, he was out in LA, and for the first time, when he first went out there and experienced his first earthquake. And it lasted 35 seconds. And in that 35 seconds, he just knew his life was over. There is a possibility that he was going to die. It was that terrifying. For 35 seconds, like changed his fucking life. He said, so can you imagine what it felt like to have a grown-ass man with his knee in your neck as you screaming that you can't breathe for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. When he made those two comparisons, I got misty-eyed. I was like, fuck, because I'm going to tell you, like Miss Honey was saying, it took her a while to watch them videos. I haven't watched them. I won't watch them. I know where some of my triggers lie. I can't watch somebody, as much TV and fiction as I watch, and blood and gore. I can't watch something where I know this person is really taking their last breath in real life. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. They're being killed, because I did sit with my great grandmother and my aunt Barbara when they were taking their last breaths. I felt like I had to be there. You know what I'm saying? But not being somebody being killed, I can't watch that. I don't want to watch that. I probably could, but I think it would tear me up inside. That was one of the things that Miss Honey said. It changed her in ways that she probably can't even understand at this time. And Dave Chappelle was talking about that. He said he watched it, took him a week to watch that, and it just like really resonated with him. The time, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds, because that's the exact same time of day which he was born. And he made another connection at the end, 8/24, is it being his birthday. And damn, I don't want to get the story wrong, but there was a connection he made about the time or the numbers 8/24 and how that resonated and matched with his birthday. So there's a lot of these deaths out here that he feels so connected to spiritually, in a way, because of the numerology. But the way he kind of like explained, he did a comparison for those of you who still are struggling with understanding. With Chris Dorner, remember him, the cop that was LAPD, that told on one of his fellow officers because she went over and beyond her power of authority. and then he was fired, and the every well bits and pieces of what happened in that situation that led up to Chris Dorner being killed by the police. What he said, that there was no less than 400 police officers that showed up to make sure that Chris Dorner was dead or that was gonna die. He said they Swiss cheesed him. They lit his body up. Um, and he said when people are out here calling the protesters or people out here rioting is what they call it. He said it's not even a riot. What is being done is we're showing up for our people. The same way that those 400 officers showed up to make sure that justice was served, whether it was street justice or legal justice, that justice was being served against Chris Dorner because one of their own was killed. That's the way that people out here in the street are feeling. One of our own was killed. We literally watched him die on the internet, on TV, for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And I didn't watch it. And I still felt that shit. Just hearing the time, I was like, that's a long fucking 8 minutes. And then he said he cried out for his mother. And Dave Chappelle mentioned that he only heard that a grown man like that cry out for his mother before, when his father died. And he cried out for his mother then. So that just stuck with him. Hearing this man cry out for his mother. He said it does something to your soul. He got on Don Lemon. Like Don Lemon has gotten really woke lately. I applaud anybody who can wake up and realize that there's more to be done. There's more to be said. I have a platform to speak on. I just have to do more. I can applaud somebody who actually genuinely realizes that and is not just pandering. Because I remember when I met Don Lemon, it was during the Ferguson protest. And he came up to interview me and was asking me what was I doing out here in these streets. I was leading the march at the time, or I was helping people lead the march. Like during the Ferguson protest, there was groups, like every 100-200 people, you had somebody else on the sideline, making sure people were staying together, making sure people knew where it was going, leading the chants. That's what I was doing at the time when he approached me and asked me what was I doing there. And wasn't I scared? And I was like, why would I be scared? I'm around my people. You know what I'm saying? And like he stopped speaking to me right then at that moment. And it's like he had a conversation with himself. And after Ferguson, or somewhere along the way in Ferguson, Don Lemon's own conscience kind of woke up. I don't know if I was the first person he talked to. I don't know if I was the last that day. I just remember my uncle in California calling me. He was like, I just seen you on CNN. I was like, really? And I didn't know who Don Lemon was at the time. I just know this black guy came up to me with a microphone in my face asking me about the protest. And we should not be scared of being out here. So Don Lemon has, and a lot of people have called out a lot of celebrities, want them to speak on Black Lives Matter, why you ain't saying something, why you ain't doing nothing. And I kind of felt like, Dave, I don't need these celebrities to speak. I really don't. The streets are speaking for themselves. Our people that's out there pounding the pavement, using their voices, they are speaking for themselves. Even the ones who are lighting the matches. I'm saying they are speaking for themselves. The streets are speaking, and it's speaking loud. Which each incident, time after time after time again, the protests are stronger, the protests are longer, the voices get louder. And this particular time, the needle is starting to move a little bit. It's getting pushed just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Small changes are happening. Small changes. But as Dave was saying in his stand-up as well, we ain't that far removed from slavery. Um, he said he had mentioned once before in one of his stand-ups that about the delegations that had black delegations that had been invited to the White House, and he had missed one. There was one that Woodrow Wilson had invited because of something that happened down in South Carolina. I think this is where the 824 came into play. And his grandfather was one of the people that went to Washington, one of the delegation. And his grandfather was a slave. He was born into slavery. His the mother that his daddy called out for was born into slavery. Slavery is not that far removed from us as a people today. When people tell us that we need to just get over it, that we're stupid for wanting to still fight for equality. It's we not that far removed. We not that far removed from the civil rights movement. It like slavery is still now for us, for a lot of us. Like we may have lost our chains, our physical chains, but a lot of us still have mental slavery that we're dealing with. It's like my supervisor. Like, I told y'all how I felt about the people here in Orlando. A lot of people here in Orlando, they really walk around here with this slave mentality. It's so hard to want to fight when you're the only one, when you're the only voice. You become the troublemaker then, when you're the only one that's standing up and pushing back. And then you get trampled on, not just by the people that you're trying to fight for or fight against, but even the people that you're fighting for, they trample over you for the sake of being comfortable. I was even having a conversation with one of my cousins. I haven't talked to her since. But it started off with I was pissed, and then it became a lack of time to actually want to hold a conversation or just a desire to. Y'all know I get in my mood sometimes. I just don't feel like talking to nobody. It became that after a while, but yeah, her thought process as far as wanting people to be off the streets and stop turning up businesses and stop setting things on fire or what have you. I'm. She had mentioned before that because I was in the military, this is why I think this way. I thought this way. The way I think, I thought this way way before the military, and the military just helped me confirm why I think this way. There's so much racism in the military. We weren't exempt from it. We weren't exempt from it at all. But the desire to fight for equality, justice, no matter the consequences. I'm not one of the people that say, y'all need to stop. Y'all gonna make things worse. I'm not one of the people. What it was the one little line that Dave Chappelle said. I don't even know if people really heard it in there. He said, as long as people are still dying at the hands of police officers, there's still going to be rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat. I don't even think people really caught what he was saying with that. And he said it with a smile. He said it with a smile. I think I was talking to, Shar. I can't remember all the numbers behind Shar's name. We were having a conversation in the comment section about the good cop, bad cop thing. And she was saying that her husband was on the police force for over 32 years, and not one of his fellow officers would do anything illegal in front of him. And I think I said I would bet a dime to a dozen that that's not true. 32 years in a major city, and I believe it's Chicago PD. 32 years in a major city, even if it ain't Chicago. But she said a major city. And no officers never did anything wrong. There's probably half of them staff is probably there transferred in from misconduct from another office. I don't understand it. Why does police officers, they do so much dirt, so much wrongdoing, they get disciplinary hearings, and they are found that they were stepping outside of the law themselves, and that's all they do is get transferred to another police station. I don't get that at all. Um, I guess they covering themselves. They taking care of their own. That's what they're doing, and that's what the people in the streets are doing. They are taking care of their own. Um, but I've seen all this because Miss Honey's video that she did in regards to um, George and Aubrey and Brianna, it's worth a listen to. Dave Chappelle's 846. He not only does he speak on George Floyd, he starts speaking of all the different people back to back as well, from Eric Garner to John Crawford. Um, even how John Crawford's um, murder was kind of like dimmed by the fact of the Ferguson protests were still going strong. He speaks on that for a minute. It's just a good. If you're looking for comedy, you're gonna get a couple chuckles out of it because he used comedy to make his point sometimes, and then sometimes he just makes the point. So it's a very good special to watch. I done downloaded that shit, like, for real. This is something I need to play back a few times and watch it over and over again. There was other points I wanted to make when I decided to come on this camera. Um, keep up the fight. Just keep up the fight. Um, and like I say, and if it continues, it continues. Like, I don't understand. As I was saying about my supervisor, um, you, her. I'm saying you. I'm speaking to her, and then maybe some people out there as well have been so tolerant of police officers not being accountable for their actions, and the number of black lives that are being taken by police officers. Um, people have been real tolerant of that. A lot of people have used the excuse, well, what about black on black crime? There's no such fucking thing. Crime is crime. The ratio of whites killing whites is equivalent to blacks killing blacks because it's you kill who you're around, you know what I'm saying, for the most part. But as law officials who have a job, who are paid civil servants, they're supposed to serve and protect and enforce the law, not be judge, jury, and executioner of the law. It's no fucking comparison to an everyday citizen taking a life. And 9 times out of 10, the citizen, if caught, um, is gonna do more time than a white person that did the same fucking crime. I mean, just this ain't even like a crime of death. Just think about the lady who got 5 years in jail because she lied about where her kid lived and wanted to put him in a better school. But then you got these celebrities out here doing 14 fucking days for bribing someone with money to get their daughter into a better college. You know what I'm saying? 5 years compared to 14 days. You know what I'm saying? Make it make fucking sense. And some people may say, well, that's has to do with class as well. A lot of countries like to say, oh no, we don't really have racism here. It's just, we have like a class system. And when you look at the bodies that are within that class, majority of them are black and brown bodies, or the ones who are at the bottom of the barrel, who's in the lower grade, so to speak, if we're going to do class. And then the whites are the upper echelon, higher classmates, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So yeah, they can miss me with their classism shit too. I know the terminology exists, but it's based on race. It's when you look back at it, it's based on race. But hey, if you've been so fucking tolerant of these actions, you find reasons to justify them or to excuse them by saying, you know, maybe they should have just complied, or maybe they should have just did this, or if he was not there being a criminal, or they pull up his old rap sheet to try to justify him dying today. You find so many ways to tolerate that shit. Then you could tolerate a protest. You could tolerate having to go a different direction because the streets are blocked off. You could tolerate having to sit there. and watch these people express their angers. You can tolerate that shit. You've been tolerating racism and injustice and inequality for all these fucking years. You could tolerate the protests for as long as it may take as well. That's all I got to say, y'all. I need to do my damn hair. I'm just getting off work. I need to wash, bathe, and all that stuff. And then get back to these videos. That's what we're putting up for y'all. Thank y'all for listening to me. Y'all have a good night. Peace.